ఇప్పుడు ఆ ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారం చూద్దాం.
When other countries are facing serious challenges, India is about to take off on a faster growth trajectory once again. The International Monetary Fund has downgraded its earlier forecast of the global economic growth by 0.3%, and the World Trade Organization has revised its forecast of the world trade growth from 5.3 to 4%. Forecasts for India, however, have either been upgraded or remained the same without downgrades. Madam Speaker, we have also embraced the states as equal partners in the process of economic growth. States have been economically empowered more than ever before. It is my belief that every rupee of public expenditure, whether undertaken by the centre or the states, will contribute to the betterment of the people's life through job creation, poverty elimination and economic growth. In the last 9 months, the NDA government headed by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has undertaken several significant steps to energize the economy. The credibility of the Indian economy has been re-established. The world is predicting that it is India's chance to fly. कुछ तो फूल खिलाए हमने और कुछ फूल खिलाने हैं. मुश्किल ये है बाग में अब तक कांटे कई पुराने हैं. Though the union budget is essentially a statement of account of public finances, it has historically become a significant opportunity to indicate the direction and pace of India's economic policy. My proposals, therefore, lay down the roadmap for accelerating growth, enhancing investment, and passing on the benefit of growth process to the common man, woman, youth, and child, those whose quality of life needs to be improved. This is the path we will doggedly and relentlessly pursue. As the Prime Minister has often said, we are a round-the-clock, round-the-year government. Madam, allow me to describe the changes of the Indian economy since we first took office. In November 2012, CPI inflation stood at 11.2%. The current account deficit by the first quarter of 2013-14 had reached 4.6% of GDP, and the normal foreign exchange flows until March 2014 were 15 billion US. We inherited a sentiment of, if I may say so, doom and gloom, and the investor community had almost written us off. We have come a long way since then. The latest CPI inflation is 5.1%, and the wholesale price inflation is negative. The current account deficit for the year is expected to be below 1.3% of GDP based on the new series. The real GDP growth is expected to accelerate to 7.4%, making India the fastest growing large economy in the world. Foreign inflows since April 2014 have been about 55 billion US, so that our foreign exchange reserves have increased to a record of 340 billion. The rupee has become stronger by 6.4% against a broad basket of currencies, and ours is the second best performing stock market amongst the major economies. In short, Madam Speaker, we have turned around the economy, dramatically restoring macroeconomic stability and creating conditions for sustainable poverty elimination, job creation, durable double-digit economic growth. Domestic and international investors are seeing us with renewed interest and hope. While being mindful of the challenges, Madam Speaker, this gives us reason to feel optimistic. With all humility at my command, I submit that this opportunity has arisen because we have created it. The people of India have voted resoundingly for quick change, faster growth, highest levels of transparency. They wanted the scam, scandal, corruption raj to end. They wanted a government in which they can trust. We have lived up to that trust. Our actions have not only been confined to the core or the macroeconomic areas alone. Illustratively, action has been taken with regard to allocation of natural resources, financial inclusion, health and hygiene of the common man, girls and their education, employment for the youth, improved and non-adversarial tax administration, effective delivery of benefits, investment and job creation, welfare of labor, agricultural productivity, and increasing farm incomes, power digital connectivity, skilling our youth, efficient and better work culture in our government, ease of doing business, mainstreaming northeastern states, and reviving our pride in the nation and culture. I am giving the details in an annexure to this speech. Madam Speaker, of the work that we have done, I would like to talk of 3 achievements as they demonstrate the quality and conviction of our government. One is the success of the Jan Dhan Yojana. Financial inclusion has been talked about for decades now. Who would have thought that in a short span of 100 days, over 12.5 crore families could have been brought into the financial mainstream? The other is coal auctions. Earlier, the states only got benefit of royalty. Now, by transparent auction process that we are carrying out, the coal-bearing states will be getting several lakhs of crores of rupees, which they can use for the creation of long-awaited community assets and the welfare of their people. The third is Swachh Bharat, which we have been able to transform into a movement to regenerate India. I can speak of, for example, the 50 lakh toilets already constructed in 14-15, and I can assure the members of this august house that we will indeed attain the target of building 6 crore toilets. But Madam, Swachh Bharat is not a program of hygiene and cleanliness, but at a deeper level a program of preventive health care and building awareness. We have now embarked on 2 more game-changing reforms, GST and what the economic survey has called the JMAM Trinity, Janadhan Aadhaar Mobile, to implement the direct transfer of benefits. GST will put in place a state-of-art indirect tax system by 1st April 2016. The JAM Trinity will allow us to transfer benefits in a leakage-proof, well-targeted, cashless manner. Madam Speaker, one of the achievements of my government has been to conquer inflation. This decline, in my view, represents a structural shift. Going forward, we expect the CPI inflation to remain close to 5% by the end of the year. This will allow further easing of monetary policy. To ensure that our victory over inflation is institutionalized and hence continues, we have concluded a monetary policy framework agreement with the Reserve Bank of India, and as I had promised in my budget speech 14-15. This framework clearly states objective of keeping inflation below 6%. We will move to amend the RBI Act this year and provide for a monetary policy committee. The Central Statistics Office has recently released a new series of GDP which involves a number of changes relative to the old series. Based on the new series, estimated GDP for 14-15 is 7.4%. Growth in 2015-16 is expected to be between 8 and 8.5%. Aiming for a double-digit rate seems feasible very soon. I will now come to the task ahead of us. In respect of social and economic indicators for decades, now we have worked in terms of percentages and numbers of beneficiaries covered. It is quite obvious that incremental change is not going to take us anywhere. We have to think in terms of a quantum jump. The year 2022 will be the Amrit Mahotsav, the 75th year of India's independence. The vision of what the Prime Minister has called Team India, led by the states and guided by the central government, should include a roof for each family in India. The call given for housing for all by 2022 would require Team India to complete 2 crore houses in urban areas and 4 crore houses in rural India. Each house in the country should have basic facilities of a 24-hour power supply, clean drinking water, a toilet, and be connected to a road. At least one member of each family should have access to means of livelihood and employment or economic opportunity to improve his or her lot. Substantial reduction of poverty. All our schemes should focus on and center around the poor. Each of us has to commit ourselves to this task of eliminating absolute poverty. Electrification by 2020 of the remaining 20,000 villages in the country, including the off-grid solar power generation. Connecting each of the 178,000 unconnected habitations by all-weather roads. This will require completing 1 lakh kilometers of roads currently under construction, plus sanctioning and building another 1 lakh kilometers of road. Good health is a necessity for both quality of life and a person's productivity and ability to support his or her family. Providing medical facilities in each village and city is absolutely essential. Educating and skilling our youth to enable them to get employment is the altar before which we must bow. To ensure that there is a senior secondary school within 5-kilometer reach of each child, we need to upgrade 80,000 secondary schools and add or upgrade 75,000 junior middle to the senior secondary level. We have also to ensure that education improves in terms of quality and learning outcomes. Increase in agricultural productivity and realization of reasonable prices of agricultural production is essential for the welfare of rural people. We should commit to increasing the irrigated area, improving efficiency of existing irrigation schemes, promoting agro-based industries and value addition, and increasing farm incomes and reasonable prices for farm produce. In terms of communication, the rural-urban divide should no longer be acceptable to us. We have to ensure connectivity to all villages without it. 2/3 of our population is below 35. To ensure that our young get proper jobs, we have to aim to make India the manufacturing hub of the world. The Skill India and the Make in India programs are aimed at doing this. We have also to encourage the growth and grow the spirit of entrepreneurship in India and support the new startups. Thus can our youth turn into being from job seekers to job creators. The eastern and northeastern regions of our country are lagging behind in development on many fronts. We need to ensure that they are at par with the rest of the economy. By the time the 75th year of India's independence, Amrit Mahotsav of our independence is reached, we have to achieve all the above so that India can become a prosperous country and a responsible global power. This will be our true and meaningful tribute to our freedom fighters. As I have said earlier, Madam Speaker, I am also mindful of the 5 challenges I have to reckon with. Firstly, agricultural incomes are under stress. Our second challenge is increasing investment in infrastructure. With private investment in infrastructure via public-private partnership model still weak, public investment needs to step in to catalyze investment. Our third challenge is that manufacturing has declined from 18% to 17% of GDP, and as per the new GDP data, the manufacturing exports have remained stagnant at about 1% of the GDP. The Make in India program is aimed at making this challenge, thus of creating jobs. Fourth, we have to be mindful of the need for fiscal discipline in spite of rising demands of public investment. In keeping with the true spirit of cooperative federalism, we have devolved a 42% share of the divisible pool of taxes to the states. As members of this august House are aware, this is an unprecedented increase which would empower the states with more resources.